Sainsbury's worker has been sacked by the retailer after stealing bags for life whilst paying for his shopping at a self-service checkout.
After being told by bosses that he could no longer be trusted, the worker claimed he was tired and unaware of what he was doing.
But with the continued risk of thefts, constant customer confusion and high upfront costs, is it time to scrap self-service checkouts?
Well, joining us now is broadcaster Rebecca Jane, who thinks that to get rid of self-service provisions would be a great shame because they're so efficient.
Meanwhile, former retail assistant Sally Mccormick believes that the devices are unbelievably unresponsive and they need to go. Rebecca Jane, everyone hates self-service checkouts, don't they?
Not me. I love them, David. I absolutely. I don't really like to shop at any supermarket that doesn't have a self-service option. No offence to anybody, but I spend all day talking for my job. I don't want to be talking to somebody when I'm buying my chicken at the end of the day.
But what about when the thing says unidentified item in bagging area, seek assistance, which I get every day?
Yeah, I know, me too. Absolutely infuriating, isn't it? With the technology that we have today, I don't understand why there's not a better system that they can do. The self-service bit is not the problem, it's the technology. And actually, if they got to grips with that, I think that more people would embrace and actually love them.
Sally, you've worked in retail. I presume you're concerned about this because effectively it takes away the need for people, for human beings, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Because the job market at the minute is extremely competitive anyway. People are struggling to find work. I myself was looking for work recently, and there are absolutely the reduce in jobs in retail is absolutely shocking at the minute.
And just coming back to you, Rebecca Jane, we talked about those self-service tills where you put your stuff in there and it measures, you know, the weight and whether it goes in your bag. There are other stores, aren't there? And I have to say I was mind-blown when I went to one of these stores and you put all your stuff together. It knows what you've got. And so, going back to your point, it's all about technology.
Yeah, I am a self-service, self-confessed absolute geek. So there is one particular retailer that has horrific problems with queues. And actually, all you do is you put your stuff on the shelf, it knows, you pay, you leave. I don't understand, if this is already available, why actually grocery shops can't do it as well. You know, the technology is there and we need to embrace and use it. That being said, I don't think we should completely do away with manned checkouts because I think they're a vital resource for a lot of people. But I think we do need to stop demonising them and start embracing them as the way of the future.
I think you're talking about Zara, aren't you? And I think Decathlon is another store that has the same, and it is brilliant.
It is
just
brilliant.
Put your things in. The problem is the majority of us, when we go to the supermarket and we're trying to scan our items and they won't scan and we're standing there for ages, and at the end of the day, you've been there longer than you would have done if you'd queued at the manned checkout. But the problem, Sally, is the queues at the manned checkouts, isn't it? You get behind someone with a full trolley when you want to buy 3 items.
Yes, absolutely. I've shopped in Zara a lot myself, and I find older people tend to gravitate towards the self-checkout, and they have absolutely no idea how to use the technology. So it just means that it's holding up an entire queue of people behind them waiting to use the self-checkout. And a lot of the time, if there's no one man in that area, like a member of staff, they have to then go to the operated tills and get someone to help them from there, which is slowing down 2 channels of getting everyone shopping through. So that is the reason why I absolutely detest the Zara ones in particular.
Oh, do you? So that's interesting. But Sally, isn't the problem here also is not only are you shopping, you also have to act as the shop assistant. You have to fold everything, put it in the bag. And actually what we're doing is...
remove the tags.
Remove the tags. I had to remove the tags and all that stuff. But you're basically undoing people's jobs. This goes back to a much bigger problem. And particularly, you mentioned elderly people there. I think older people want to have a chat whilst they're shopping. They don't want to be met with technology.
Definitely, I would agree. Like, from my own experience, I have worked in a number of major retailers and we've never offered self-service checkouts because we understand that consumers need that conversation. I will say as well, I know, Rebecca, you said that you work in a job where you're talking all day. I also obviously I'm in retail, so I'm talking to people every day, but I do notice that because I've been in that position, when I'm serving someone, within the first 2 seconds, I can tell whether they want me to chat to them, or whether they just want to get through the service like quickly, easily, without any like sort of conversation. But I think being able to offer that for people, whether they want it or not, is extremely important.
And sorry, I was just going to say, Rebecca Jane, isn't there a worry that actually one of the biggest problems in society is we don't talk enough to each other, we don't understand enough about each other, and this just extrapolates and makes that problem worse?
I think you've got a point, but the conversations that we need to be having and the reasons why we don't talk to each other enough and not, you know, they're not placed at the checkout. They are actually with our families and with our friends. You know, we're not going to get deep and meaningful with somebody who's checking out what we're going to be having for dinner. So you do have a point, and I do think that isolation is a serious issue in today's society. But I don't think that this is where we should be looking to support it. That being said, again, I do say that, you know, sort of elderly people are very isolated, and I think that they really do appreciate that personal service. That's why I think it needs to be an option. But realistically, David, you know, what is people's issue with using self-checkouts? It is purely the technology. If it was great, I think that everybody would be doing it.
You've got to get help when you've got to get help when you buy alcohol, when you buy a bottle of wine, though, don't you?
I'm under 21.
Anyway, Rebecca Jane and Sally Mccormick, thank you very much indeed.